Henry, you can open your eyes now.
The one thing that I was afraid of most of all was I wouldn't wake up again. You'd be so close to death when you sleep.
I go to bed hurting, and I wake up hurting. My knees, sometimes they buckle on me. That's why I use a walker. I want to do more, but my knees and my legs tell me you can't do no more. You got too much weight.
Having this much excessive weight can cause so many other difficulties, not only with your heart and with your lungs, but with your joints. I mean, it can be very difficult for people of this weight just to walk around their house.
I assume this table is as low as it goes, right? In gastric bypass operation, we create a small stomach to help patient to lose weight and maintain the weight loss.
During the surgery, basically you take a stomach that's about the size of a football and you reduce the size, you basically cut out the excess and make it the size anywhere from an egg to maybe the size of a baseball. And what this does is it allows the person to get full much more quickly than they otherwise would. And the other part of a gastric bypass is that you take that little stomach and then you bypass a portion of the small intestine, attaching it lower down. And this causes less absorption of the food and helps also with losing weight.
Patients that are extremely overweight, there are a number of difficulties you can have. You can imagine how much their organs have to work.
Now, back when I trained in general surgery, and this was almost 20 years ago now, we would do gastric bypass surgeries under an open approach, where we would literally make an incision straight down the middle of the tummy and get into the abdominal cavity and do the operation that way. What they're doing nowadays is they're being able to use 5 small incisions. They then inflate the inside of the abdomen with air, allowing the surgery to be done through actually using remote scopes and instruments. And you avoid then that big scar down the middle, and you avoid a lot of the potential complications and the horrible recovery some patients would have after an open gastric bypass.
We're going to have extra strain on heart and lung. If anything goes wrong, it will be very difficult to pull this patient through.
When you are so large, your heart has to work overtime and excessively hard to pump blood to all the different body parts. On top of that, when you have surgery, that also adds to the strain on the heart, and that's why some patients can get heart attacks during or after an operation. So this is definitely a very high-risk surgery, but in somebody who weighs as much as he does, I think it's worth it.
Henry, you can open your eyes now.
The one thing that I was afraid of most of all was I wouldn't wake up again. You'd be so close to death when you sleep.
Henry, you're waking up. Henry, listen. Henry.
It's interesting because I hear this from my patients all the time. My patients tell me the thing they worry about most is not necessarily being disfigured from the operation or having a bad result, but they worry that they're going to not wake up from anesthesia. The good thing is that our anesthesia nowadays is so much safer than it ever was before. And the chances of developing an actual problem like that, never waking up, is extremely tiny.
Hi, Henry. Let me look at your incisions. All right, Henry, let's get you up and walking.
Wait a minute. You ready?
Henry is doing extremely well. I expect he's going to lose 500 pounds in 2 years' time.
studies do show that after gastric bypass surgery, patients tend to lose approximately 70 to 80% of their excessive weight within the first 18 months. For some, this can lead to a lot of loose skin, which is something that plastic surgeons like myself help take care of.
As you see, I got an extension, seat belt, but I'm finna show you something. Ta-da! Like my mom, you know, they be trying to get me to go to buffets, and I just tell them, I'm not going to no buffet.
It's a very difficult diet that patients who have gastric bypass have to follow in order for them to be successful in their weight loss. It literally starts with tablespoons of clear liquids, progresses to pureed foods, and eventually regular food. But the problem is that if you eat too much, you can stretch, even a stomach that has gotten really tiny, you can really stretch that out and people can gain their weight back.
Good morning, how you doing? Good. 483, that's good. That's better than what I thought it was gonna be. I'm here today for just a regular checkup, see how much weight I done lost, check my blood pressure. I hope to be scheduled next month for my first SS skin operation.
That's great. He has lost a lot of weight, and what that allows him then to do is to undergo the skin operation, which is essentially called a panniculectomy. Now, a panniculectomy is a surgery where you remove the pannus. A pannus is a large amount of excess skin that hangs from the tummy. It's not the same as a tummy tuck because it doesn't include muscle tightening and a lot of the cosmetic elements of it, but it can definitely help improve the quality of life of a patient who's had a ton of extra skin. This episode is brought to you by my skincare line, YOUN Beauty. Our products combine natural and organic ingredients with the latest in scientifically proven anti-aging components like vitamin C and retinol. So if you're looking for healthy and youthful skin without the unnecessary chemicals, this is the skincare line for you. Check them out at dryounonline.com and use the coupon code 20OFF to get $20 off your first order over $99. We'll put a link in the caption below. All right, back to the video.
Well, sometime tomorrow, he and my foot will not have this lower part of his stomach no more. Even though I'm not walking on a walker anymore, I'm still having problems with my knees. Once I get this hem off my legs and stuff, I'll be able to motor around better. I'm very excited about that.
He's showing us his pannus, and this is removed once again by a panniculectomy. And the benefit of that is going to be two things mainly for him. First thing is those can be quite heavy. I've removed in my years as a plastic surgeon anywhere from 25 to 35 pounds off of somebody from their pannus, from that area. And if you can imagine just walking around with a 25 to 35 pound weight hanging from your tummy everywhere you go, and then imagine having that for years and years and years and then having it removed, how great that would feel, and it really does. The second thing is that the skin underneath the pannus can become excoriated, it can become infected, you can develop sores under it, and even fungal and bacterial infections. And so it is a medical procedure to remove it.
He has a lot of excess skin, lower abdomen that we're going to take off so he can walk. We took 41 pounds of skin and the fat in lower abdomen.
It's all done.
Is that satisfying to remove so much skin from somebody? Oh, heck yeah, it is. It feels good not only for the surgeon to remove it, because it's so satisfying just to take that and lop that off, but it's also satisfying, obviously, for the patient to get rid of that. Now, when you saw that very briefly, that skin that was removed and all that underlying fat, you could see they removed the belly button as well. This can be part of the surgery, so right now my guess is that he doesn't have a belly button. The belly button can actually be recreated at a later time. I've done that myself a few times.
Mr. Henry. 404.2. You're walking like a champ.
Got mine in the
Henry, how are you?
All right.
Wow, you are 400 pounds now.
Don't help me. Let me do it myself.
You need new pants, man.
I got new pants. Just
Okay, let's see if we can get you laid down.
Those little dangly things are drains, and we use them after surgery to drain out any fluid that can develop. Whenever you have surgery, your body will create this kind of inflammatory fluid, kind of like the fluid of a blister. And if you don't remove it, it can build up and it can kind of slosh around on the inside, hence the drains.
Okay, I need you to get in the shower and get the soap and water and wash the incision gently. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of infection in the wound. It's healed pretty good. Yeah.
I might be able to sleep tonight.
Patients who are this large have a much higher risk of infections and wound breakdown. He actually used staples in this situation, the doctor did. Staples actually have the lowest risk of infection. I almost never use them in my patients because they leave little track marks, and if you see a plastic surgeon and you have staples, it's just not good practice. But in this situation where he's got such a high risk of infection, it was definitely the right way to go.
Doesn't he look great? He's smaller now than he was when I first met him.
I love her. She know I do.
It's been a while since we've been on a date. The gastric bypass has changed my eating habits a whole lot. I used to eat a lot of food. I eat a whole lot less now. The surgery gave me a new perspective of how to eat.
Long life and happy day.
Yes.
And that may be the best part of all of this, is that having this surgery and undergoing the changes that he did appears to have caused him to actually like delicious, healthy foods. And I hope that he continues on this course. If you enjoyed my reaction to this My 600-Pound Life story, take a peek at this reaction that I did of a patient who had not only way too much excessive weight, but severe lymphedema and elephantiasis.